Moving on to our final segment, we have the 15 modern era players that were announced for the class of 2024 for the Hall of Fame. Our players are Eric Allen, Jared Allen, Willie Anderson, Jair Evans, Dwight Freeney, Antonio Gates, Rodney Harrison, Devin Hester, Torrey Holt, Andre Johnson, Julius Peppers, Fred Taylor, Reggie Wayne, Patrick Willis, and Darren Woodson. So we have a couple of first-year guys. So the two first-year guys, years of eligibility, Antonio Gates and Julius Peppers are the first-year eligibility guys here. We have a couple of second-year eligibility players, and then it kind of just starts to fall off pretty quickly after that. So out of the guys who are the first-year eligible, first ballot Hall of Famers is Antonio Gates and Julius Peppers, or Julius Peppers, a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Gates is in 1,000%.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Even statistically wise, legacy wise, one of the greatest tight ends to ever play the game, one of the greatest San Diego Chargers to ever play the game, not having a huge NFL or football background, being a basketball player in college, coming into the NFL, setting it on fire like he did, and the modern era version of what the tight ends look like now. So to me, that's without a doubt. I'm super biased on the Hall of Fame, and I'll be 100% honest right up now for anyone who's watching this clip on YouTube or TikTok. I'm super biased towards the Hall of Fame on what I think deserves in, and to me, Antonio Gates is without a doubt first ballot Hall of Famer.
So I'm going to give you 5 players, okay? So 5 out of these 15 you can select into the Hall of Fame. I'll read it off to you one more time, okay? We have Eric Allen, Jared Allen, Willie Anderson, Jair Evans, Dwight Freeney, Antonio Gates, Rodney Harrison, Devin Hester, Torrey Holt, Andre Johnson, Julius Peppers, Fred Taylor, Reggie Wayne, Patrick Willis, and Darren Woodson. Who are the 5 out of those 15 that you are going to select into the Hall of Fame? 5, no more, no less.
We've had this conversation for a couple of years now. I'm putting Patrick Willis in. I know you disagree. I'm putting Gates in. Devin Hester's going in as a kick returner. I think he's the best kick returner of all time. Is Darren Woodson a Hall of Famer?
Mizzy?
I think I'd put Darren Woodson and Rodney Harrison in.
Okay, so that's your 5.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Antonio Gates. I'm going to go Devin Hester. So we're going to agree on that. I'm going to go Torrey Holt. I'm going to go Willie Anderson. So that's 4. And my last one, I got Reggie Wayne. I got Patrick Willis sitting here. Andre Johnson. Julius Peppers. Dwight Freeney. Now, for my last guy, I'm gonna put in Reggie Wayne. So I got Reggie Wayne, Torrey Holt, Devin Hester, Antonio Gates, and Willie Anderson. That's gonna be my 5. I think the only 2 guys I think that are like have to be in Antonio Gates, and I'm tired of Devin Hester not being in. You got to be in my opinion. Please put that man in.
My problem with Reggie Wayne, my problem with Andre Johnson is it really dilutes the statistics of who belongs to be in, because then you're going to look at these other players that are going to come up. If Reggie Wayne's a Hall of Famer, then Mike Evans is a Hall of Famer today. You know what I mean? If Andre Johnson is a Hall of Famer, then Mike Evans is a Hall of Famer today. Same thing with Dwight Freeney, man. He was dominant for his time, but statistic-wise, I think the Hall of Fame's diluted already. And I know a lot of players that are in the Hall of Fame feel that way. I don't know much about the tackle. What was his name that you mentioned?
Willie Anderson.
He's probably, if I look up his statistics, he's probably a Hall of Famer, but it's an offensive lineman. But I just think that the like certain teams have eras of dominance and players are core to that. And For instance, right now, perfect example. The Cowboys have been good for a number of years now. There's not really any defender on that team that has been central to that success, right? You guys have turned out a lot of players. The defenses keep rolling. The 49ers have been dominant for a number of years now, and it all belongs on the back of Fred Warner. Statistically wise, is he going to be good enough to get into the Hall of Fame? No. But he is one of the best modern era, this version linebacker to do it. And I feel the same way about Patrick Willis. I feel like he set a tone. And the only reason why we don't talk about him as a sure ballot Hall of Famer is he retired too early. And if he's going to be kept out because of that, I get it. But again, when you look back at the statistics, it's hard for middle linebackers to get in because they just don't have the stats. It's the same thing with Reggie Wayne and Andre Johnson. Yeah. And that just, when you play safety for 12 seasons like Woodson did, when you play corner for 12 or 13 seasons like Harrison did, you don't play those positions for long if you're not upper level at it. So corners come in and out of the league all the time. Like there's my neighbor right across the street here, he played for the St. Louis Rams for 3 years. I don't even remember his name anymore, but he was a corner for the Rams for like 3 years. They don't last very long if they're not upper echelon level. So, but then again, I think it's disrespectful to like a Darrelle Revis or a Deion Sanders if you put it like, how do you put Darrelle Revis in the Hall of Fame? You put Deion Sanders in the Hall of Fame, and then Rodney Harrison is in the Hall of Fame. Those three players are not the same. So I don't know.
When it comes to safeties too, obviously safeties don't like upper echelon safeties who play a long time at a high level. They don't come around very often. I think peaks of defensive guys in general are very, very, very small. Outside of, I think, now I feel like, goddamn, with this era that we're in right now, the amount of defensive ends that we have that are playing at a really high level for a couple of years now is pretty good. We'll obviously see if that comes down here recently, but the corners, the defensive backs, even the linebackers, you don't see a lot of guys playing at a high level for very long. Now, when it comes to the safety position, there's one guy that kind of comes to mind that I'm not sure. He plays at a really high level. He's been playing at a really high level for years and years and years and years. If he retires, is he in the Hall of Fame? And my name is blanking on me right now. Safety for Harrison Smith.
Vikings. 100% a Hall of Fame.
Vikings.
He leads. He's like top 10 or something all time in interceptions or something like that. Like Harrison Smith is a Hall of Famer to me.
And it's funny because I think that not a lot of people talk about Harrison Smith throughout his career. I think there was even at one point where I was like, nobody talks about this dude ever. Not a peep. Nobody ever. When you're talking about great defensive guys in the league, he's not ever talked about, right? When you ask somebody who are the greatest safeties from years X to years X, it's not Harrison Smith doesn't come up very often. It's you think about the guys who had a very short period of greatness and then nothing, right? Cam Chancellor, Earl Thomas, those type of guys who had great for a very short period of time, but nothing after that. Harrison Smith has just been great, right?
Well, it's earlier this year, the Vikings, when they played the 49ers, there was a stat that they put on the TV that was like all-time leader in interceptions among active players. And Tashawn Gibson and Harrison Smith were both like number 1 and number 2 or number 2 and number 3, whatever it was. I was like, oh, holy smokes. I didn't know Tashawn Gibson had that many interceptions. Harrison Smith just shows up every week. He plays up in the box. He lays the wood. He picks the ball off. He does everything you want a safety to do. And he probably just not a big enough trash talker, so he doesn't end up on the radar enough. But you can go that's what one of my favorite podcasters would call a war daddy. You go to war with that dude any day. Harrison Smith Jr. is a 100% bona fide war daddy, and he is 100% a Hall of